on, Dad. You never read it.
I've started the recording again. I edit the start because I can stop the recording and begin again, which I'm now doing for the 4th time because I'm spending the first 20 seconds talking about how I've done that. Fuck it. You know what? Let's do it on the day. The morning of the 13th, you guys chased down Kel, killed him, and did good job. Looted him, found a cool jacket that holds 1,000 knives, found a cool hat, which is cool, and also killed Kel, which is doubly cool. You've defeated him. Woo! Yay!
Hey, I had a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
How did you use that speculum when you were looking at something?
Well, you see. Fuck you. Alright, so, yeah. You guys did a cool thing.
Oh yeah, we got the lantern or whatever, so we can go to the... Oh, that's what we were going to do.
Little blue lantern, and you know there's a few other things to make a full transition to the bleak gate, because while using the lantern will get you there in a manner. You would be at great risk of being ejected violently and potentially lethally from the bleak gate should that lantern be killed. Destroyed, broken, smashed, even ran out of gas. Who knows? We don't know what powers it.
I'm pretty sure.
Do they have oil?
Dreams.
Yeah,
Hashtag.
it has witch oil in it.
Ah, okay. Well, we should have a shitload of that, don't we? Like, stored away somewhere?
No, I blew up the last of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck
well.
out of it.
Well, I think
Cool.
Trouble's like 90% witch oil at this point, so maybe we can consume.
Can I get my blood replaced with witch oil? How much is that going to cost?
Your life, probably.
The lid on my kettle won't open. I'm pretty
also
mad
likes
about
burning.
this.
So, 5 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. You guys are back at the RHC. You've recovered Cal and the bodies of his lackeys and returned them to the RHC, where they lay in the morgue under the building for identification and probably also... Oh, no, shit. You guys already did that, didn't you? You fucking brought him up and he had that guy rock up and bring him back to life. Well, not bring him back to life, but talk to his
Yeah,
spirit.
that's right, yep.
All back.
Yeah, he told you some information. Sorry, I completely forgot that bit. Yeah, you've already interrogated his spirit with the help of one of the RHC high priests. And that's who gave you some information on how to get to the Bleak Gate and where it is. That the Cauldron Hill was the point of interest, and that there was something he didn't know anything about. He'd never been there himself, but something about the complex, something like that.
On Cauldron Hill, right?
Yeah, that's where he thinks it is. So as the morning comes in, the sun starts to come up. The interrogation went on sort of bright and early. You guys have a chance for a brief rest, and I think you had a short rest. I did give you a long rest because I'm cool. You guys had a bit of a rest, and you were given your invitations by Delft, who was put out that he didn't get an invitation for the opening dinner of the Rise of
Did you
Daniel
see
Peace
who
Summit.
invited it, Duff? You don't want an invitation from these people.
Yeah, you did notice that it was an invitation from Lagier of Danor herself. Yeah.
Triflin' hoe.
Yeah. Delft does point out that insulting or, God forbid, attacking the Denorans during this peace summit would likely start a war. So, you should go, but you should be on your best behavior.
I am always on my best behavior.
How did he know?
He smiles at you and sort of says, I know, Tribro, it's just your best behavior is not that good. Says, on the upside, though, if you are rude, technically, large years you're an inviter, and that makes you her responsibility. Lol.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I don't
makes
think
sense.
others are going to see it like
Are
that.
we allowed to defend ourselves?
He looks at you, what do you mean? Think the Denorans
Like-
are here to start a war?
Like, say they throw off their cloaks and try and stab the king, hypothetically.
Then you absolutely protect the king. And you lay down your lives and your ability to do so.
Perfect.
Don't just pull off their coat and say they were going to stab the king and then try to attack them, though, because that would be bad.
I was not going to do that.
He wasn't, now he is.
Ma'am, may I take your coat? She's after the king! So, as you guys know, on the 9th, the Fro Rouge parked at the Royal Docks, and it had a few dignitaries and a security detachment arriving for the Danuran side of Hotel Aurum. And today at 6 p.m, a second ship is due to arrive, the Lux Profectus. Profectus. The Lux Profectus.
Sounds about right, yeah.
The Lux Profectus.
The fuck's
That sounds so fucking kinky.
Is due to arrive in Flint Bay. Yeah. So what are you guys doing for the rest of the day here? The dinner is due to start at 8 p.m.
Oh, so I guess we had the question: do we have to do like the Theater of Scoundrels or whatever thing?
I'd say because we've killed Kel, we don't have any major need to go and do that. Like, we don't have to focus on it. But you can say during the day...
The B team and the task force will probably mop it up, won't they?
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
even
now that Kel's
easier.
under wraps, his whole group's going to be entirely in disarray. And it'll be very quick that the media finds out that Kel has been captured by the RHC, is the word used.
We just tell our mafia friend where the Theatre of Scoundrels is.
Sounds about
I'm
easy.
pretty sure they know.
He would have no intention of attacking that full frontal. He will be cleaning up the mess once you're done. So it's up to you. It's up to the RHC to finish that off. So for the morning, you guys wouldn't be doing anything by hand because you've done the first bit. But you would be able to direct and organise the cleaning up of the Theatre of Scoundrel in the last few pockets of Kel's group. Even by early afternoon, there's reports that some of the family have been leaving bodies. You've sent out RHC officers to go and clean up pockets of 5 or 10 men, and they're arriving and finding them already dealt with, presumably by the family moving in to take place and recover anything of value before it falls into RHC hands. So things are working out pretty well. The officers do ask Delft to look into the murders. They're beyond police jurisdiction, and Delft says we'll be discussing with the king the current plans, because you still have to convince the king to put this moratorium on mortars on moratorium on mortars.
Yeah.
So early afternoon comes around, you guys directing the police around, and at about 12 o'clock there's a delivery to the RHC. There's a large wooden box on like a big rolling platform, and the guy delivering it is an RHC internal logistics man, and he says, "Hello, I'm after Arnis."
I guess I will step forward.
Says, Yarnis.
Uh,
Shoves a little clipboard in your hand, and you see along the top like a really cursive linked writing of your name, but you probably see how he sees several R's before the last NIS.
I'll sign for it then. Yep.
Fantastic, it's yours. And he like pulls a big lever on this thing, and the wheels just sort of pop out to the side, and the box clumps onto the floor outside the RHC. He says, "Righto, off we go then." And he gathers up the wheels and heads off.
Thanks.
Guess I'll open it.
And inside you find a large box of parts, pieces, and plates, and various mechanical detritus that you recognize as the item you ordered.
Oh,
A large,
it's here.
well, you can build it and describe what it looks like. It's like IKEA, you have to put it
Yeah.
together.
IKEA makes sense now.
Some assembler required.
Does it just have a bunch of those really confusing pictographic instructions?
Yeah, no words. Just hand sketched like arrows pointing in different directions and pieces. Yeah.
You have some extra screws of one side, but not enough for the other size.
It's basically like technologist Kent. If you can't read it, you shouldn't have it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I guess I'll be working on putting that together then.
Alright. It probably only takes you like an hour and a bit. Because it is just assembly, it's not fully building this thing. You would have got it all machined out and ordered in to arrive, and just arriving in the nick of time today. So about 2 o'clock you'd finish putting the last touches together on it. What does your suit look like?
I'm trying to find a good picture.
Please
But
tell me
it's-
it's fucking Gundam.
No.
There's the official picture. Is that one not good enough?
Where is it? Is it oh, okay, here it goes. Loading. Beep boop.
Oh, this is a lot larger than what I was expecting.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
That's the medium one, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah.
I guess
So I
it'd be
guess you're
something similar to that, but it would be a lot more, like, I guess, elegant, because with the whole Eladrin thing.
Like,
Gundam
maybe-
versus MechWarrior.
Like,
Yeah, something like that.
fucking mithril plated with, gold filigree and all that bullshit.
Yeah, that would be here. Let me see. Yeah, just a little bit more elegant. I guess the old mithril golem from 3.5 would be, a good
Come on.
look.
Fuck.
I'll throw it in the thing.
Goddamn leg. Ow. Fucking smacked it against the computer.
Oh yeah. Is that a Warhams?
Elder, yeah. Elder, probably.
Yeah, that-
Elder mech might be a good.
Yeah, look like that. That's a good look.
Space Elf, man.
Space elf. Yeah.
Yeah, but those little spiky things would be like steam vents instead of weird whatever they are.
Magic bones.
But yeah, something like that.
Okay. Alright, I'll download that so we can check it in Pens Guns. Something like that. Okay, cool. Okie dokie. So, that suit gets built early afternoon, and yeah, I mean it's big, so it's not going to fit indoors, is it?
No, but I mean it's I can shrink it down. Remember?
True, that's right. Fucking magic mech suit. Sorry, Iron Man. So, what's everyone else doing for the rest of the morning?
Procuring a few casks of fire dust.
All right, yeah, you're able to do that. How much are you buying, and in what capacity? You're just gonna carry them because they're big.
Like those small novelty, like bourbon casks.
Right. Okay.
I'm not talking like 40-gallon kegs here.
Oh hey, well my
He
light
wishes.
carrying capacity is 1,600 pounds, right?
So I'll get 1,600 pounds of fire dust.
strap it to the back of the mech suit.
Yeah, it seems pretty safe.
What could go wrong?
Everything. Okay, so how many are you wanting to buy?
I'll get like 3.
Okay, and you're just gonna like strap them to your back, sort of deal.
Yeah, chuck them in the backpack.
All right. You get 3 small casks of fire dust, and it costs you about maybe 50 gold altogether for the casks and the fire dust, because they'll need to be repotted into little casks, because they don't tend to sell it in small amounts like that in little casks.
Perfect.
Alright, what about anyone else? Anyone else got any other plans? Sorry, I didn't share that again.
I'll probably just mope around about not having a cool mech. I'll go to the
I think it's
forest.
Go to the forest.
Yeah, because I can't remember the name of the place I come from. The
Cloudwood?
cloud. Yeah.
Cloudwood? Yeah, okay. So you go there in the early afternoon, and what do you do there?
Well, just bond with the community, you know. It's been a while since I've been back. Nothing in particular.
Okay. You head back, and you're welcomed in. People are quite happy and warm to you when they see you turning up.
Maybe go visit some of those orphans we saved.
Oh yeah. Head to the old treehouse. It's still having some repairs done to it, but it is much more beautiful than it was last, with Ekosigan's growth that's bloomed out from there, the eternal spring. And you're greeted by a couple of the orphans that, hey, how's it going, guy who helped save us? Totally glad I'm not dead.
Pat the little ones on the head and say something that they get confused about.
What? What?
Like something whimsical, but like totally not relevant to the actual conversation.
Did
But
you
they
know
just-
you could pickle flowers?
Hey, little Timmy, have you pickled a flower of late? Did you know you could do that? And he just looks at you like, what? And then you just waltz
Move
off
on.
into the bush. All right, so you spend your time chilling out in the Cloudwood with your friends and adopted family, I suppose. Dimitri.
All your friends.
I think Dimitri's going to do something very Dimitri.
Paperwork.
He's probably going to start that. He's also probably going to start like writing long editorials and essays on how eschatologists should behave and how basically explain why the people who basically did what they did were not true eschatologists and so forth. And he's going to start publishing that. He's going to try and he's going to try and
Dimitri's
start.
top
Yeah.
contributor for the weekly eschatologist newsletter.
It's
He
called
probably
the
already
End
is.
Times.
Yeah.
Hey!
Oh.
But he's probably going to spend a bit of time writing and publishing his writings on eschatology.
All right. Good. I'm sure some of them will make it into the editorial, and maybe maybe some reputable eschatologist journals might pick up your papers in the next few months, maybe, depending how things shake out. If anyone's alive.
Wow. Harsh.
Well, you guys have killed entire towns already.
Yeah, but not on.
Not on purpose. And Trabo. What does Trabo get up to?
Yeah, I went and got the fire dust.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, I came back to you again. Ryla. There we go.
Oh, wow. Thanks for remembering, buddy.
What? I said your name.
I'm gonna work on creating my blaster. It's gonna look a little bit like this. You say sad if at least Kevin doesn't understand.
All right.
What? I don't understand.
It's a gun, Kevin.
It is a gun.
I mean, it's the Blade Runner gun.
Yay! Thanks, buddy. I knew I could count on you.
Yay.
Why is there like a bolt action lever on the top?
Greebles.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It doesn't look like that lever goes anywhere though. Like it.
That's the
No, I mean,
confusing part.
Yeah.
There's no slide.
The lever
just-
moves the whole slide back.
It just looks it looks cool. That's all the reason it's there.
No, it's,
Yeah.
it's a lever that it slides up and then back down, and that brings around from what I can only assume is the magazine in the bottom.
That horizontal thing. It's like a
Yeah.
peanut with a.
Actually, it doesn't use a magazine on the bottom if I remember correctly, doesn't it? Like, it's like this fucking cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something weird.
yeah, it's weird, fucking Blade Runner bullshit from like the 80s.
Yeah. Movie magic gun.
Where everyone had 2 index fingers.
Yes, and that's to fire 2 bullets at once. Thank you very much.
You know, one finger just growing out the top of the other one.
That's
Can you-
correct.
No. You hold it with 2 fingers, so you have your index finger and your middle finger holding the 2 things there.
Well, there are guns like that. Like some dual-barreled shotguns have the triggers in line, and you just
Yeah.
press more to pull both of them.
But not
Well,
like an inch apart like
The
that.
old double-barreled shotguns that we used to have, it actually sort of had the 2 triggers side by side, so you could actually do both with one. Which
Yeah.
seems like
This
a
is
more sensible way of doing.
It's a fancy French version.
Nah,
It's,
That makes sense to me.
The
Yeah, like
one
the
trigger
name
is
of the
shoot,
fingers.
and the other trigger is shoot harder.
Yes, exactly.
shoot and continue to shoot. Okay,
Good
cool.
old
Cool, so you make your
American
blaster.
style.
What do you
Yeah.
make it out of? Do you build it from scratch, or do
I modify my eschatologist gun.
you carve the initials of a certain gun lady that you fell in love with into it?
Gun
Wow.
lady.
Fucking
On
yeah.
every single
Yes,
part.
Yes, I do.
There's been a few at this point, hasn't there?
I think 2
So
gun
there's-
ladies that you've liked.
There have been, but there's only one in my life, and that's
Is it?
Katya.
Was that her name?
Yeah,
It is now.
it was. She was like fucking that Russian name. That's all I
Kaja.
remember. Oh, well, same difference. One has a T, one doesn't. Good enough.
It also looks like Royler's gone under some pretty significant cosmetic surgery too.
That's correct. Yeah.
He's more
Yeah,
more machine than man now.
Yeah, just carve her name in Elvish on the side of the gun.
Interestingly, actually, I'm glad you reminded me of her, because in the rounds of, because she's alive, right? You didn't fucking kill her, did you?
No, the RHC took her to torture her. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
because they were very insistent.
Yeah. Poor Kaja. Yeah, in the rounds of arrests and attacks going on all around Kel's businesses, one of the people arrested is Kaja Stewart, who it was found has been working with Kel in the weeks following her release from the RHC,
Ooh.
and she is
I
brought
forgive her.
and put in this. You just let her out. I forgive you, Kaja.
Yeah, I'll just sign Dimitri's name on the release form. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, I'll let you out if you go on a date with me.
Wow, rude.
I'm a really nice guy.
Please,
Um,
I'm so lonely.
she is brought to the cells of the RHC, and when you guys are there, you building your gun and heading down and help with stuff. You see her and recognize her, and she seems to recognize you, but doesn't say anything. And you see she has a series of sort of new scars from when you last saw her, all around like the base of her neck and down her arms.
I
Do
go
you
to
show
right, I don't
her-
kink judge.
Do you show her the gun that you carved her name onto?
Fucking no.
just hide it under your jacket. Oh, hey!
Yeah, just gotta. Oh, whoa, what's going on?
What are you doing here?
Yeah, oh wow. No, I mean,
You don't have to
I'll-
say hi. Just note that she was picked up with Cal's men.
just can't stay away from that life, you know. I understand.
I
Did
mean,
you
Yeah,
say
who
that to
doesn't
her, or
like
did
a
you
bad
just ignore
bitch,
her
right?
and say that?
I turned to Uranus and say that. No, I think, I mean, you know, she seemed like a nice girl, but she got, you know, into bad shit again.
Got
So I
mixed
mean, I
up
guess
in the
it's just,
wrong crowd.
yeah, it's just the way things go.
Alright. And you leave her in
That's
the
just
cell
the
to
way it
contemplate her
is.
life choices. Alright. 6 o'clock starts to roll around. It's about 5:45 when you guys are told to head down to the docks and greet the Lux Profectus.
Is that the name?
Lux Profectus? I don't know. How do you say it? Profectus? We've already discovered I can't read Latin or whatever it's trying to emulate.
Good Lux Perfectus.
I am from Latin. Yeah, so you guys down at Flint Bay, and the Lux, which I'm going to call it the Lux, cruises into Flint Bay and makes a grand impression. You see from the port 200 Denoran sailors in crisp white uniforms line the edge of the main deck of the Lux, helping the ship seem to glow in the afternoon sun. The vessel swings about with the aid of tugs and closes with the royal docks, and with measured precision it cuts its engines and glides on as the tugs drop their ropes and let it go on to stop not 10 feet from the prow of Rise's own flagship, the Coal Tongue, which still undergoing repairs, but we won't mention that.
Look, we saved people.
Yeah, we
You
did.
You didn't sink it fully.
What was that?
The Coal Tongue.
You know, the one we beat or breached, like way back.
The very
I
start.
thought we totally sunk that.
No.
We
sunk
like
that
completely. Oh, was there a second coal tongue?
Wait, was the original?
No, that was
the
the-
first ship we thing was a Kotung.
Yeah, that was the Colt one.
We like
And
blew
no,
up
we
the
scuttled the shit
we
out of
like
that.
blew up we blew up the boiler and we scuttled the whole.
Yeah,
Did
but
you?
like, it didn't. Well,
I
we
thought
did.
you only
but
put a hole in it and then it was tugged.
we did fuck up. Like,
I'm pretty sure we totally fucked it up.
I think
Well,
that
then it
was
doesn't
an
stop near
option.
the Coal Tongue.
And then I was like, no, fuck it, we're
where the
scuttling
Coal
this shit.
Tongue would have been if you hadn't have sunk it. I'm sure you didn't fucking scuttle it. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
I
check
don't
it out.
Was this really
No.
early?
You
Yeah.
gave us the option of not scuttling it, and then I thought we took
No,
the
'cause-
option of scuttling it.
Because I thought,
No,
if I remember right, didn't I do something like right at the end where we didn't end up having to scuttle it? Like we were
Yeah,
going to, but I stopped it somehow.
Yeah, you techno babbled it, didn't you?
yeah, he
Yeah, I
stuck
did
it
something
in
to the
Oh,
boiler
yeah.
or something.
and he got fucking wrenched like a dozen times.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
That
been
guy
a
was
while.
gonna go drinking, thinking his whole world has been a lie. Upon seeing the ship.
Yeah, okay, no, it's there. It's still under repair, though. Fuck, man, you gaslighting me? Jesus.
Well, it was really close to scuttling it, so I mean,
It was. Yeah, I mean, it was severely damaged. It is not operable at the moment, and it is still under repair. To welcome
Alright, we can go
the
back
Lux,
and do the past episodes.
to welcome the Lux is a company of Rysuri Marines, flanking the welcoming party in Fleet Square. While across the bridge in Royal Square, several hundred flinters, including yourself, strain to watch the Denorans arrive. The king himself, however, is not in attendance, having sent Governor Stanfield in his stead. A ramp is deployed, and the line of crew parts to reveal. My throat's dying. And the line of crew parts to reveal first a small string and woodwind orchestra that strikes up the Denoran national anthem, and following that, the head of state, Sovereign Hangier himself.
Han Solo. Yes, Han Solo.
Hanjier, who performs a flute solo. He starts down the ramp as the elegant overture of the anthem begins. Beside him walks his niece, the lady you know, Lajier. And behind them follows the Denoran Minister of War, Eloise Duffet, several bodyguards, and attendants bearing gifts for the Flint City officials. Sorry, my throat's dying. I'm really sick. As they step off the ramp onto the dock, the strings and woodwinds rise and are joined by previously unseen brass instruments. Then, just as the Sovereign reaches Governor Stanfield, the anthem crescendos and is joined by a blast of the steamship's horn, which echoes out, causes kids and adults alike all around the docks to cover their ears and laugh and cheer and yay! After this horn, the sound fades out and Governor Stanfield formally welcomes the Denorans. He gestures back to the crowd to where you are, and you see him begin to try and introduce you. But as he says, please welcome my guests. Lajier cuts in front and says, yes, the good people I crossed swords with in Vendris and who helped us at Axis Island. Han sort of looks at her confusedly, and she smiles and holds out her arms to greet each of you with a hug and a formal kiss on the cheek.
Not
Going
going
for
to
some
take my other
tongue.
leg this time, are ya?
I still hate that puzzle.
She smiles and says, no, Trabo, I simply asked for you to come to dinner to show my commitment to clearing up any misunderstandings we may have had.
Hey, Spite,
Yes.
can I put some poison on a glove and then hold her hand for like a minute? Because I need a minute to do it.
Just gonna have
Wow.
that awkward, constant handshaking.
For
just,
a minute.
Just for a minute, you know? It's not awkward.
Those awkwardly long Trump handshakes he does.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a long time to try and do it. Things are gonna get strange.
Things are already fucking strange.
I'll just, be like, listen, do you really want to marry the king? I mean, I'm a much better choice. Just hold her
is
hand.
that
the
what you
whole time.
say?
Make it super awkward.
Wow!
Just make it incredibly awkward the whole time.
What if
No.
she says yes, though? Do you go on and be like, well, I'm going to stop murdering you now?
And she's like
So I can get my
shaking your
ins?
hand. She's like raising an eyebrow. You're most kind, but look, nothing is going to get in the way of peace between our two great nations. I'm sorry, and you sort of see her looking over to one of the bodyguards who takes a step forwards as she tries to like pull her hand away. And he moves up and he's like, Sir, step back. Do you let go? You're at
yeah,
about
of
like
course.
20 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, no, of course.
So you let go and she stands back and like shuffles away from you to the next person and is what the fuck was that?
I'm sorry, it's creepy.
At least I
Gives
got
me
a
the
little bit of
heebie-jeebies
poison
too.
on her hand.
A little bit of poison on her hand, which she licks promptly and dies.
Oh, thank God. Finally.
No. The bodyguard that sort of spoke to you as well is a hulking half-orc who wears a steel helmet with unusually thick protection over his ears. And you see strapped on his back is a staff-like object that technologist boy Uranus recognizes as a arcano-scientific sonic weapon. Sort of like a tuning fork at the end of it rather than a blade. Or rather than a gem, rather. But the staff itself, the handle is all wrapped in cashmere to make it look like a prestigious item. But it is most definitely a weapon of sorts. The other guard near her is a half-elf who carries a pair of elaborately decorated platinum rods. And that's it.
So everyone's packing.
The two bodyguards are. Minister and the Sovereign are not armed. I tell a lie, sorry. Lajier has got it at her hip, a golden platinum dress scimitar.
Okay. I'll just be in my mech suit. But I'll like
Go for a hug.
draw. I'll draw like like a black suit and bow tie on the front of it, so it looks like
Painted tux just like 2 square feet on the front of the suit. So as she draws her attention to you in this big hulking suit, you just
No,
sorta-
I don't actually do that. Uranus is too stuffy for that kind of shit.
disappointed. All right. She greets you as well. And did you encounter her? Were you playing when you fought her?
Axis, were you with? I think he was with us for Axis Island, wasn't he? Or
Let me
Oh,
check. I have
yeah.
an item from something.
Well, yeah, that was like our first mission. So he or
Yeah, you
Oh,
were
yeah,
there
I
for the
definitely
Axis
was.
Island
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Because I have that. I
Right.
still have that icon of Avalona.
Yeah.
I still have
Yeah,
that
he
necklace
just
of
was-
cleaning. I can pee myself. Sweet.
She greets you and says, Uranus, I missed you in Vindris, but it is lovely to see you again. Keeping well, I hope. And she gives you a quick hug and a peck as well. She says, shall we make our way to the carriages? And you see Sovereign Hangier is already sort of moving his way down there. With Governor Stanfield.
Yeah.
No one wants to try and poison her or kill her in the middle of the street?
No.
I do, but I'm
I
not going
just
to.
set the fire dust off. It's fine.
So I mean, is there any reason for us not to start a war here?
I mean,
Other than the fact
yeah.
it would start a war.
Well, yeah, but I mean, isn't that fine? Like, it's
I don't
okay,
think
right?
Razor wants to get into the war.
Well, maybe they should have thought about that before, you know.
Before what?
Before inviting us along.
Yeah, exactly.
bunch of violent psychopaths.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're just asking
Hey,
for trouble at that point.
Hey, we're
Probably
all
two of them,
perfectly.
You cut off there. We're all perfect.
We are-
Exactly.
we're all perfect.
We're not psychopaths. We're not violent.
No, you guys do have a chance to talk with Lyra, actually, away from the prying ears of the entire population of Flint City. As you get into the cart, she invites you into her cart. She sits. It's like an 8-seater cart, and she sits along one of the benches with the bodyguard on either side, and she gestures out the door to you guys to join her and says, perhaps we can talk as we head to your Hotel Aurum.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
you
why
guys,
not?
you guys jump in, and as the cart sets off, she says, I'm sure you will have some questions.
Yes.
Oh, a lot of questions.
So go ahead.
What's on the menu for tonight?
Before she can answer, the half elf who you know now after she introduces him to be called Rush says, I know squid's supposed to be on it. I'm having some of that squid.
I'm rethinking my decision to be in the same carriage as Tribo with him.
And the half orc looks over and says, what? Squid? Who said squid? He's very much deaf, and his name is Merton.
Merton, huh? All right.
All right. Well, is Ryza like famous for squid or something?
No?
We talk food from Apet because that stuff's really good.
Squid is most likely a delicacy, though. It's hard to capture because it's it's hard to capture.
Wiggly.
Yeah.
You can't just
It's
fish for it.
slippery.
They haven't invented fishing rods. You have to go and like catch the fish by hand.
Oh,
I'm just imagining like a fishing boat with all these diving boards off it.
Just dudes hanging off the side like, I caught it! Ah, no, it slipped out again.
oh,
Yeah, so yeah, squid delicacy. He's excited about it.
All right.
well,
Well,
who doesn't love some delicious squid?
who doesn't love some awkward fucking small talk?
Lyra looks a little bit annoyed at Rush talking, but she says, I'm sure there will be a feast for all.
Yeah, I have a question.
Is it about squid?
No.
Then go ahead.
All right, cool. Are you gonna not try and murder us here? Because that would be really cool.
She smiles and she says, "I have no intention of murdering you. And I
Okay.
hope
Oh.
you share the same feelings."
Well,
kinda
you
looked at
did
my
cut
hand.
my leg off and not my head,
She-
so
There was a weird pause when she said murdering you, so I think she's going to torture us slowly and have someone else murder us or something.
As you look at your hand as well, Ryla, she looks at hers, and you just see her like wiping it on her dress.
So how do we get to the Bleak Gate?
Do you just straight up ask that?
Why not? Let's go balls to the walls. What's the worst that can happen? We die?
I mean,
says,
she's like trying to help, you know. She wants to help us. It'd be cool.
Says, the Bleak Gate. I'm not sure why you would want to go there, but the intricacies of traversing the realms is something that, well, a bit beyond me, to be honest. You'd be better off asking my brother Luke. And she just sort of like dead-eye stares you.
Yeah, how's Luke doing? He's doing good these days?
She just grimaces and doesn't respond.
Yeah. This is going great, guys.
I understand that there is some bad blood about what my brother Luke was trying to do. Look, I'm telling you, here and now, all he was trying to do was work on an experimental device intended to solve the magic problem. You guys do know, obviously, that Daenor lies in a mostly dead magic zone, with no real way to access elemental planes. Daenor is very much just a physical and chemical processes reliant nation, with the dead magic there. She says her brother's experiment, that lamp, it's supposed to probe the nature of how such processes function in regions of different magic. There are, admittedly, probably some niche military applications, as you might believe, perhaps, from your limited experience with it, but the primary purpose is scientific and technological inquiry, the furthering of our understanding of our worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Have you considered the consequences of probing such powerful forces you have little understanding?
Says, well, there were consequences we didn't foresee, such as, well, I'm going to share something with you that goes no further than this cart. The Daenor intelligence community investigated the events on the Avery Coast Railroad, where Luke was traveling. You know, you were there. Apparently, a man known as Caius Bergeron, whom I haven't heard of before now, or before then, was trying to get his hands on Luke's research. We didn't know that, well, we didn't expect that people would go to such lengths to try and obtain it.
I mean,
Wasn't he dead before the train incident?
She nods. We know he was meant to follow Luke. There was something that happened back in your city. We've been wanting to find out the details of that, but, well, you haven't been too forthcoming with the events in your own cities. All we know is that Caius was a philanthropist with a penchant for archaeology that wound up dead sometime before he was due to follow Luke, and you ended up following Luke in his stead, which begs the theory. What did you know? Well, begs the theory, begs the question, sorry. What did you know? And why were you after Luke?
We knew that
Guidance.
he was belonged to an organization that Caius was in.
Organization?
Caius. Yes. It's a rather obscure organization.
Does she have a ring on?
Oh, fuck me.
And we know that Caius's meddling almost created an extraplanar invasion that would have doomed our city, if not the world. So
She nods.
find out more.
Of course, it was not the intention of Luke, I'm sure, but events got a little out of hand. And when dealing with things we're not quite 100% sure on, well, interruption and people sticking their noses where it doesn't belong, getting involved when they shouldn't, causes all sorts of untoward events. But if there's any assistance I can offer to help ensure the threat from this group, what did you say their name was?
I said that was a rather obscure group.
Right, well, if there's anything I can offer to help ensure the threat from this obscure group is squelched, you need only ask. But I assure you, I was only in Vendris to meet my brother and support him as he tested his invention for the good of Daenor. What happened there after you showed up, and the unpleasantness that occurred thereafter, was all in fear for my brother's safety. I'm sure you understand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're asking about the Bleak Gate anyway, perhaps it makes more sense to look at Crasilia. Daenor is relatively inexperienced at using magic, and, well, any unpleasantness with the Bleak Gate is surely accidental at best. She shrugs. She seems quite proud of herself. Actually, she feels like she's deflecting you very well.
Seems kind of weird. It's like, we know that she's full of shit. She knows that we know we're full of shit. So
But at the moment, it is your word versus hers, and you know the king is wanting peace between these lands. It's totally not your word versus hers. You guys have fucking evidence out the wazoo, but they still want peace.
Yeah, they don't. King doesn't really give a shit, which is unfortunate.
Let's overthrow him and make Trowbro king.
I'd support. I'd vote for me.
She sort of gestures out the window and says, "It looks like we're nearly here." And just as she stops, she
we
says,
can do
oh, sorry, go
to
ahead.
help you?
She smiles and she says, "You seem to have a few issues of your own to be sorting out. Perhaps concentrate on your own shores before worrying about ours." Very obviously referring to the number of terrorist attacks that you've had, the dozens, if not hundreds, killed in the last few days, the massive police force actions that you've undertaken, which certainly weren't under the media's eyes.
those mostly have been dealt with.
Smiles.
There is
To
just
be fair-
essentially one major threat remaining.
And this time we didn't burn down half the city.
She
And
looks at you like, "This time?" And then the carriage stops and bumps, and she says, "We have arrived." And she goes to stand up, and Merton pushes open the door and growls at everyone to wait your turn and let Lyra out first.
Miss Gia, real quick.
Of course. Right.
Considering the ceremony, aren't these your shores too now? Shouldn't you be worried about these shores as well?
He says, "We have to reach that point first, and that's what today is about." And she steps out of the cart. So, you guys arrive at the dinner, and, well, everyone here, geez, this is going to be horrendous. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to kill it. So, being members of the head table, you are all welcomed in and declared to the banquet, along with all the other dignitaries. Yeah, you get your titles shouted out. If you guys have any special requests, you can tell the announcer if you want to add something to your title. Otherwise,
I will so take this opportunity.
All right. So what title do you whisper
The mother
to
of
the...
Mother of Dragons.
So it starts
I'll-
off and it's Ryla of the RHC has arrived, and you step forwards and people sort of look over. Tribro, you come up to the guy and tap him on the shoulder, and he leans down. Yes.
I'm not here, so can you introduce Zambria, please?
Zambria? Zambria who? And he
That's it.
looks at his list and he says, I don't have a Zambria on the list, sir.
No, she's me, but I'm not here.
Tribro as Zambia.
Oh god. Alright, he sort of looks at you. Right. In lieu of Tribro of the RHC is Zambria. Fuck, what was her last name? Zambria, her last name. I've forgotten what it was. But that gets a few heads. What? This person. Did she die? And they look over and they're looking for her, but they only see you and they're confused. But yeah, certainly got a few people interested in called that out.
I curtsy.
Jesus Christ. Zambria Meredith, that's her name. Dr. Zambria Meredith. That's who's introduced. Aranus of RHC, and you're introduced, and Dimitri of the RHC, and Orzov of the RHC and the Cloudwood. And a few people. Yeah, welcome. And you guys come in and sit down. Where after you is King Aoden, Hangier, Liagier, all that sort of thing. They're all welcomed, and then people are really sort of applauding and cheering, and all heads are looking those ways. You also have a few other people. Rises head of agriculture, Kian Doherty, and the line moves into the banquet hall, and everyone takes their seat. And the tables are set up with empty places, but empty plates, but the wine glasses have been filled already in anticipation of the entire delegation's arrival. Everyone sort of settles in, and you guys, I assume, will take your seats.
Yeah.
And once the congregation is seated, King Aoden stands. He's the first to rise, and he begins addressing the attendees in a loud voice, bidding them the deepest thanks and blessings for attending. He bids welcome to Han Jier, and asks him to rise and give the first toast of the evening. The sovereign of Daenor, Han, rises and takes the opportunity to give toast to the cessation of hostilities between the two nations, proclaiming that our long and bloodied conflict is finally at an end, and we can begin looking forward to a shining future together. And he gives a cheers and raises his glasses, and everyone else, hey, woo, yay, clap, clap, clap. After he finishes his toast, the King of Ryza stands once again and gives his own toast. He thanks Sovereign Gier, and he says, and I would like to toast my soon-to-be wife, the lovely and talented Laia Gier, for without her, none of this would be possible. And you have people, woohoo, and a few conversational murmurs coming from the various tables as King Aoden sits. At this point, etiquette permits one more person from each side to make a toast before the first course arrives. Do any of you stand and try to take the opportunity?
I look towards Tribro.
As there's a brief pause, no one stands up, and you see the Denoran Minister of War, Eloise Duffet, stands up to fill in the silence and says, let us remember the fallen sailors and orphaned children and do them honor in these coming talks. And she looks over at King Aoden and Tribro. You see a very frosty, well, everyone sees a frosty stare from her at King Aoden and Tribro, because you remember the Third Year-Sol War, that there was a bit of Denoran propaganda that claimed that Aoden, before he was king, fired upon the Denoran capital of Shiraj and struck and killed an orphanage full of children. This is very much a underhanded insult from Eloise Duffett. Does anyone want to stand in response to her? There is only one, it's only proper for one person to speak currently, but does anyone want to?
Was there an event of Daenor that did something terrible against citizens of? Can we do like a side remark against them, just to make it all friendly? Hashtag not friendly.
I think, can Dimitri try and, like, I guess, do a diffusing sort of speech, like, kind of...
Say that children
say-
always suffer most of war. Poor
Uh,
children.
I don't know, just say something like, yes, we should just remember the fallen of all sides in these trying times, blah, blah,
Like a bit of a placating.
Yeah,
Remember the
kind
fallen of all sides. It all pales in comparison to the end of the world.
exactly, with some heavy eschatologist overtones, like, as the world is, we should focus on the proper ending of things to come, and blah, blah. Yeah.
All right, and you do so. And at first, when you start speaking, people don't realize that you've actually stood, being a dwarf. But as you start talking and aren't really paying attention, Governor Stanfield sort of tings his glass, drawing attention to the side of the room. People realize, sorry, someone's talking. And you speak and you offer your little diffusing speech. And it seems to do some good and at least draw attention away from the icy stare that Eloise Duffett is directing at our King Aoden. And yeah, it's a nice speech. And afterwards, everyone claps. And following the toasts, immediately after you sit, almost as if waiting for that cue, I see a number of chefs and kitchen hands coming to deliver the first round of food. Everyone please make a diplomacy check to see if you maintain the proper etiquette.
Everyone gets a +1 because I'm here.
Oh, sweet. I knew that. 'Cause I only had
Yay.
a +6.
Really? +1?
Oh,
+1.
is that with Zambria?
Nope, it's one of my racials.
Trabro gives us a +1 to diplomacy.
Yep. The
I
You
guess he
all
shows
look
us
great compared to me.
Yeah, he shows us how not to act. Just do whatever Traubo isn't doing.
But this is how we eat in the Cloudwood.
The first course, as it comes out, and Charbro's sort of pointing you like that spoon and the spoon out, starting outside and work your way in. Everyone's sort of like,
narrowing.
yeah, the narrow end of the spoon is the one you hold. Just, shit. The first course comes out.
I
And it's a
don't whisper it, I say it out loud.
and you see a few other dignitaries like looking over, and they were going for the wrong spoons, and they very slyly like listen to your point out as well. And they're like, oh right, and they're doing it. But yeah, the first course comes out, and it's a specially made Raizuri soup, imported from distant Shale. The soup is made using local spices and squid that can only be found near the Yerasol archipelago. And you hear from the Denoran table, you hear Rush, yes, the squid! And he starts digging in, and everyone's sort of, this guy, as you guys get yours. And as people finish the soup, sort of all around the room, a second course of specially made Denoran salad and Burr and breads brought to the table, breads from Burr. A server notes that the Denoran Minister of War, Eloise Duffett, has not touched her soup. And she says, was the soup not okay? And you guys hear a loud and obviously huffed Duffett respond, well, this soup's origin seems rather political, doesn't it? Shale was the seat of power of Duchess Ethelyn, the king's sister who led an attack on Daenor not several months ago. And you see Lajair sort of speak up and say that if a cow rancher murdered her father, she would not stop eating beef, and perhaps you should, well, keep things to yourself, Eloise. And all of the table chuckles, but Hangier seems a little bit put off by the topic. And he brings up the exploits of you guys and gestures over to where you're sitting. He says, the brave RHC constables at Axis Island. They helped bring the Duchess to justice for what she did. helped her get the punishment she deserved. I think this is a wonderful gift. And he finishes and picks up the bowl of soup and against all decor and slurps it up from the edge and puts it down and next course! Just as the salad and bread are plopped down in front of him.
Escape on the back of a dolphin or some shit.
Yes, but
Officially, she was captured.
yeah, the attack was stopped.
Wait, I thought we did capture her, but let the nephew go. Like it was one or the other.
Oh yeah, no, she escaped from the boat, but then she was at
Oh,
the
yeah,
island
yeah,
and you
yeah.
caught her. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, you did stop her. Luke, no, not Luke. Nathan Gier was taken by the Fae, Ezra Bay.
Yeah, Azerbay, yeah.
Yeah. What is? Okay, hang on. Do you guys want to add anything to the conversation? Do you want to throw out any shade?
Um,
No, I'll just talk about the planes.
yeah, we're supposed
And
to
the
be,
stars.
keeping this shit diplomatic. So I guess we'll just be diplomatic.
So you sort of brush
I'll
off the
throw out
question.
shade.
Yeah, all right. So you're all sort of like, oh, so how's the weather like? And Chabo, what do you say?
Well, yes, I was talking with Tribo, and he was talking about the Axis Island thing. It sounded terrible.
Everyone
The
sort of
fire
looks at you.
bombings at the
Talking with Trab, bro.
I mean me.
I was talking with me.
Looking back on my diary,
And
It was terrible. So many of us died to bring her to justice.
and there's a bit of yes, well, it is a sad event on all sides. Good people on both sides, Leia says.
Oh, I'm triggered now.
A conversation continues for a bit, but people are giving you a bit of a weird look, Trabro. Like, is the squid not okay? And as it goes on, but then there's a first intermission of the event is called, and from up the front, the Master of Ceremonies invites all guests to perhaps while we wait for the next course, you would all like to view the gallery of fine art that has been set up in one of the skywalks. And everyone sort of stands from their table, and you have an opportunity to meet with other members of the crowd. And you see at one of the other tables, much further back, you see Jeff Massad, the guy who built or helped design the Koltung, sort of beelining towards you with a great big grin on his face, and he greets each one of you and sees how you're going and express condolences about any of the people that have been lost and those officers who were harmed in the taking down of Kel, but then congratulates you on their on your achievements in the city of Flint. Jeff says, "Well, felt like less than 6 months ago, which it was, that you were just petty officers standing on the shore trying to keep back a crowd of rebel rousers from our king. Our times change quickly." And is there anyone you guys want to particularly see if they're about, or have a chat with, or try and talk with some more while you're here?
I'm just curious. Is the guy, what's his face, the
beer guy.
the cigarette, the cigar company guy?
Nicodemus?
Yes. Just wondering if
Now, he is not there. Not there at all.
Sorry.
Is the Dragonborn guy around? Might have a friendly chat with him.
Who was that?
The person that came in for the peace talks.
You mean the Minotaur?
Yes, Dragonborn Minotaur.
It's
Close
all the
enough.
same.
Bestialness.
Yes, Bracken, mediator Bracken of Hefenita is there.
I just asked him how he's been getting along in the city. Hoping enjoying his stay.
Yeah, you find him with the Stefan Eberhardt, the old thin dwarf who we met in Flint with the B team, who greets you heartily, and you see they're both partaking very happily with the drinks and eats going on. And Bracken stands up and gives you a great big slap on the back with one of his massive, huge arms. You stumble forwards. Ozov, bloody good to see you. Have a seat. And, they don't seem interested in the art. They just want to sit and drink.
I hope you're having a good time in our city. Sorry we couldn't show you around a bit more. Things have been a bit hectic, as you must know.
He says, I know, I experienced some of it firsthand. And he gestures to a bandage on his side that looks... He's got a wound from when he was present for the attacks in Flint City. The eschatologist attacks. It's a scar I'll wear back home, I think.
Can Dimitri just slyly just fix that up for?
Yeah, you can have a look, and he have a look at the bandage, and it is healing nicely, and you can give it a check over, and a little bit of magic help there, and so as you start to magically heal, he says, "Oh, not too much. I think this is a scar I want to have to remember."
He wants a cool scar, bro.
Not an event I wish, nor will be able to forget for some time. Yep, that relieves the pain, but please don't remove it completely. And he stops you from fully healing it.
I hope that hasn't dampened your love for people, or
he sort of looks at you. Could
friendliness.
not. When in the company of people who think and feel such as you and everyone else here. How can one not but love this city and this country and this beer?
What a good dude.
I give him a good hearty slap on the back as well. Good man.
He nods. And after a short while, is anyone wanting to go and see anyone else, or anything in particular, or
any hot girls around for Ryla?
Yeah, any dragons?
There's a dragon statue.
Actually, for once, Rylar is not chasing skirts. I'm kind of keeping it now. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. Get out of your system.
I thought you were just going to be chasing like the king this time or something.
Not chasing skirts, chasing squirts.
Yes, that one. No, I'm gonna I'd like to keep like an eye out to see if anyone who seems a little suspicious, anyone who's making, staring too much at, the major players around here or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Roll me a perception in the tower.
Okay.
No one stands out. There's a lot of eyes on everyone. Like, a lot of people are looking at the dignitaries, and everyone's sort of attention is focused there. But you don't spot anyone that's like looking at them like, "Oh, I'm going to kill those people." No, that jumps out as a risk or a safety concern at present. Probably you guys would be the most safety concerned for Naya.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But after a short time, everyone is called back to their tables by the Master of Ceremonies for the next part of the meal. And as everyone's returned to the tables, he introduces the third course. And we have now a banquet consisting of renowned meat samplings brought to Flint via magical teleportation from the Rhizuric capital of Slate. And 3 plates are put on the table, each of them filled with a selection of finely spiced and thinly sliced meat, meant as a preparatory appetizer for the guests. And you see Eloise Duffett eagerly dig into this after not being willing to eat the Rhizuri stuff. The other stuff. The soup. She's like, well, finally we have something from a more reputable place. And she starts
Wait,
digging
didn't you
in.
say this was from a Riser?
Yeah, but not from Shale. It's from Slate, so a city
Ah.
where she's not all politically charged.
So they
Are
don't
they-
just hate Riser. Okay, gotcha.
Are these cities all named after stone?
Flint, Shale, and Slate so far, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
One of them will be called Granite or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
As the attendees all begin to eat, the conversation changes to a discussion about the start of the peace talks. Sovereign Jair and King Aedan give every impression of resuming an ongoing conversation about specifics of the talks, and they sort of drop one another hints on how to handle some of the more difficult advisors and counsellors from each other's party. The tone of the conversation between the two sovereigns is open and friendly, and you get the sense that both rulers are genuinely looking forward to the talks and harbour no ill will towards one another's to cast shadow on the start of these peace talks. Eventually, Bracken, Lairgier, and Principal Minister Harkover Lee begin their own conversation about what might be the hardest hurdle to overcome in the peace talks. You overhear Minister Lee stating that many in Rise are against the talks because of the fear of industrialization, while Lairgier believes her people cannot forgive past transgressions from the last year or so war, it's still fresh in their mind. Bracken tries at times to includes you guys in the conversation, interested in hearing your opinions, especially since you're more in touch with the Riseri people on the street. He looks over to you and says, how do you feel the people of Flint would approach further industrialization? He looks over to you where you guys are all sitting.
Well, I believe for any society and city that is advancing forwards, that there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be unrest. People will be slow to accept it. However, overall, I think it'll be a net good. As long as workers' rights are maintained and,
They don't get locked in while this city block's burning down.
yeah, the exploitive system is, changed a little bit, benefit workers and such. I think it'll work out fine. However, I understand that as far as the Denorans go, that wars or wounds from war heal slow, and there will always be people who have negative opinions and won't be able to accept it. But
At this point, Eloise cuts you off and says, old wounds are particularly hard to heal when they keep having the scab scratched off, wouldn't you say? What was your name? Riddler?
yes, the Riddler. Thank you very much.
Riddle you full of holes.
Well, yes. I mean, of course. Things are bound to happen. Aggressions from both sides are bound to cause issues. However, I do believe that overall, once these two peoples are connected together, I think that eventually we will all be able to, if not get along, at least accept each other. I mean, of course.
Well, I attack the doppelganger that has obviously replaced Raylar.
Eloise is suitably charged up and she says, aggression on both sides? You say both sides. We are the victims of multiple attacks from you and yours. And you have the audacity to claim that we are the transgressors? And you see the Governor Stanfield at this point starting to try and speak up, and she sort of puts a hand up to him and says, no, your city, your nation has been confronted with problems all throughout Flint, including the corruption and suicide of your Mayor Reed McBannon, multiple arsonist attacks resulting in the death of thousands, and the events of the past few days, which I would like to point out we have only learned of after arriving in the city today. And she looks at Stanfield and says, so how do you address these concerns? Do you allow your police officers to come in and talk them down for you, Governor? And Stanfield sort of looks over to you, Ryler, and says, I'll deal with this. But he only offers a sort of a stock political answer. He just says, Madam, every society has to find its balance after a transition, but we are committed to ensuring the safety of our citizens and of our guests. You have my promise that if you had been in any danger, neither I nor the king nor these fine gentlemen here, and he gestures to you, would have kept any information or allowed you to enter an area where you are at risk. And then Duffet turns to you and says, so you are the ones in charge of maintaining our security. And so how have you maintained the security in this city? And she points out the Denoran capital of Shiraj has been peaceful for over a generation, and claims the only violence in her homeland is what Ryza brings to its shores. She neglects to mention that Shiraj has a strict curfew since its last riots that you all know about.
You know what would just unite both of our people? A war. Not between us. We just go find someone else, right?
And you see Bracken of Burr sort of prick up at this point. I advise against any war against any nation. These are peace talks, not warmonger talks.
Or even, like an invading plane.
You can't war in here. This is a peace room.
Take this to the war room, gentlemen. And she says, the planes? The planes aren't a threat. They haven't been a threat since we were split from them millennia ago.
They haven't been a threat for about 6 weeks.
She laughs. Minor incursions, such as what we've heard. They're not true threats of the planes reopening. Magical mischief getting up.
Are Titans not threats? I say questioningly, fully knowing what I'm actually doing.
The table goes quiet for a second. Everyone sort of looks over. And then the fourth course is announced. And chefs bring out to an absolutely dead quiet table a haunch of specially bred boar from distant Burr, a personal gift from Verde Brews, King of Burr. The meat is accompanied by a selection of varied fruits from Alfavor, sliced into bite-sized chunks, and everything is glazed with sweet honey-based sauce. And while the table all just stares across, you see Bracken at the back. Ah! I love the pickleberry fruits! And he grabs a handful and says, you must try this! And everyone sort of says, the Titans. What makes you talk of the Titans, Herr Orzov?
Shit, I was hoping that would end the conversation, not start another one.
How would that end the conversation, buddy? How would that end
By the
the
awkward
conversation?
silence that happened. I was like, sweet work. Awkwardness of everyone going, shit, we don't know how to continue from here. Well,
I guess you just sort of like deflect for a few moments until a second intermission is called.
No, I'll say we bumped into one.
And there's a laugh from down the table. Bumped into a Titan. This man speaks as if he's had too much wine. It's
If only.
Bracken again. And you hear, Orzov.
Don't tell me I hear a Titan.
A giant snake comes through the doorway. Heard y'all talking shit.
I'm here for the peace talks.
I have whispered to you what you hear, that no one else hears.
I just drink some wine.
you take a sip as Bracken
then
says,
spill
this
some
man has had
like
too
that.
much wine. And you take a sip, and the second intermission is called. This one includes a performance by a string quartet with one violinist using the famous hurricane violin.
I do have shit charisma, right? Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's a violin enchanted in the Navris Opera House. You see Lajagier trying to get Eloise to step aside for a private conversation during this intermission. Obviously going to berate her for disrupting the dinner. When all of a sudden a Raizuri guard comes running in, finds Minister Lee, and you hear him explain that Ezra Bey Viral is on his way up to the banquet room. And less than a minute later, Ezra Bey Viral bursts into the gathering, No one tries properly to bar his way as he strides towards King Aoden, where he goes to kneel as he speaks. And do you guys do anything, or do you just let him come in and talk?
Yep.
Yeah, it's I don't think trying to stop him's a very smart plan.
At no point does the Dreadnought make eye contact with any of the Denoran delegation. However, as he comes in, he sees and he nods to each of you all before he kneels in front of the king, and he says, King Aoden, I apologize for my disruption. The Unseen Court wishes to know more of the danger Costigan saw, and so I request permission to investigate further. I seek your blessing to pass into the Bleak Gate to explore Cauldron Hill. Your nation owes me nothing, and so I can only ask this as a favor. If you would deny my request, you need only say so, King.
I can go with him to get myself out of this conversation and party.
As you go to speak up, the king raises his hand. Not your place to talk, Orzov. And you guys notice a slight twitch of anxiety from Bracken off to the side. As if he's sort of hearing or feeling something unpleasant. King Aoden says, Azrabe, this moment of all times. He coughs. This moment of all times is inappropriate. I demand you leave at once. And Azrabe sort of stands and goes to nod. Says, that said, I do not deny your request. And Azrabe, not having a yes, but also definitely not having a no, gives a slight nod and accepts the king's statement and leaves. Everyone else in the room seems to let out the breaths they've been holding, and Aoden addresses the congregation and says, I apologize for that interruption. Perhaps dessert should be ready now? But Hangier, the sovereign of Daenor, declines politely, saying he will take his leave so Ryza can deal properly with its Fey allies. And he nods to Bracken, says, we are still scheduled to meet the next morning. And Bracken nods, and Hangier and his Denoran delegation leaves with as much dignity as possible. Aoden gestures towards you, the party, and Minister Lee to come talk with him in private. And you guys leave the room as the rest of the guests sort of look around confusedly like, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? Bracken goes to follow into the side room, and as the party goes in following the king, Lee closes the door in Bracken's face. And you see him cast a spell.
Can I hold the door open for Bracken? Because he's a good bloke.
Because he's what?
Because he's a good bloke. I like him.
Lee does not allow you to let Bracken in, and if you try to, he says, this is not a matter for the allies of Ryza. This is a matter for Ryza.
What's the point of having allies?
Well, you don't tell your allies absolutely everything 100% of the time. But he does not wish to let Bracken in.
Yeah. Can just Dimitri say that Bracken's abilities may have some insight into some of what's happened, what's gone on just here? That could be.
I think he already knows what's going on, bro.
Minister Lee looks at you, says, his abilities? And before you say
This
anything
is the
more,
empath, isn't it?
Bracken
Yes.
is the empath. It is not known that he is the empath, and it may put him in hot water, which is perfectly fine if you don't feel he should be involved in mediating, because knowing people's thoughts isn't really wanted in political climates. Incredibly useful for the person knowing the thoughts, but no one else really wants their thoughts known when they're trying to talk about peace.
I didn't actually realise it was actual thoughts. I thought it was sort of just more emotions and.
Right, yeah, empathy. Even if it's detecting if people are lying or trying to hide something, that's a big giveaway.
Okay, so I didn't realise that was quite on the down.
I may not have made that clear enough when he talked about it, or when it was made clear when you were hanging around him. But that is the case. So it's up to you if you want to share that now.
Yeah.
And maybe in the interest of Riser or Flint or Harkover to know that, but it may remove.
I might just say I might just say to Harkover, make it clear that this is in confidence. But
If he's
you
following
know,
us, there must be a
in
reason.
our in our battles, we discovered this of him, and he seems to be genuinely using it to good use and stuff, and he's a good dude.
We latch on to people and we never let them go.
So yeah,
Lee, Lee sort of looks at you and then looks at the king, and Lee says, Aoden, and Aoden looks at you all. Empath. This man has powers beyond what he shared with us. But for the moment, I wish to speak to you briefly. Then we can invite in your friend, the empath. And you all hear now in your voice, in your head, the voice of Bracken. Orzov, you've already heard this once, but you hear, "Tell the king to let me in. I read the Jier's minds." And then the voice fades. It was if he was in the room with you, but he wasn't. On the other side of the door. The king and Lee do not seem to have heard this. Do not react as if they had.
I guess I'll tell the king that. I'll blurt it out.
He looks at Lee and Lee just says, "I have silenced the room, king. If he's speaking to them, my magic cannot stop it." The king says, "Well, you might as well bloody open it then." And he opens the door and you see Bracken on the other side, and he sort of bows, stoops and says, "I'm sorry, Your Grace, I do not wish to intrude, but this is of great importance." And the king sort of invites him in, and you're now in the room closed, and the king says, "Is there any other of your delegation, Bracken, that would be spying on our room?" And Bracken shakes his head and says, "No, just him." He says, "Look, I don't mean to intrude, but all night I've had the sense that someone has been, well, I say someone, everyone has been hiding things from each other, and it all revolves around Lia's involvement in something far greater than I can get a beat on. She's good, she's clever, she's protected, but I know that whatever it is, the Cauldron Hill is at the center of it. I managed to snag a thought I overheard just before the Denorans left. I believe it was from Han, thinking, I'll have to send a messenger to Cauldron Hill to let them know. And I believe it has something to do with Azerbai's wanting to head to Cauldron Hill that has got them on edge. I believe there's something up there that the Denorans don't want you to unearth."
Cool.
Probably the Cauldron Hill complex.
Says, quite possibly. Look,
Could it
Liar?
be a giant golem?
he looks at you, a giant golem.
Wasn't Golem Guy? Why would have Golem Guy if he's not making a golem?
There's a measure of
What?
distance between a man and a giant.
No, Golem. A giant golem. Golem. Robot. Fuck it.
What?
I'm
Well,
lost.
if it's Remember the other clue we had with getting that guy that makes golems?
Oh yes, yeah. Yep. The guy at the start of the
I
adventure.
mean, why would you have a guy that makes golems if he's not planning to make a golem? So they probably have like a witch oil infused golem for destruction.
They've definitely got something.
You nod. Whatever it is, it's obviously a threat to the peace between our nations. And potentially a threat to the Giers themselves, if they're this worked up about it. And Aiden looks to you all and says, if what Bracken says is true and Han's sending a message to warn whoever's at the Cauldron Hill, which I believe we must accept is probably the Obscurati, that means they didn't already know that an attack was imminent, that they wouldn't be on alert. If you can stop this message getting out, and we can get to the Bleak Gate, perhaps this is our moment for our element of surprise to be effective.
Do we have like body doubles that can take over for us at the dinner, and we can just head out now?
I thought the
Dinner's
dinner was
finished.
ended.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
the
I thought there was
Denorans
still
have all
more.
left. They all left in a hurry,
Oh.
and that's what Bracken heard. He's saying we need to get a message to Cauldron Hill. Lee says...
Gosh,
I
Rylan.
missed that part.
Lee opens the doors and calls for 2 aides, and you hear him give them directions to watch for any way Hanjir might pass along a message. And but a few minutes later, Minister Lee gets word that a Denoran guard is heading downstairs away from the delegation's rooms towards the lobby. And Lee and the king look to you and say, "This might be it. This might be the message he's sending to Cauldron Hill. Perhaps you can detain him. We need to keep our element of surprise."
Surely it's a
Do we
double
have-
bluff.
Well, do we have probable cause? I mean, wouldn't that cause kind of an incident if we just grab our
We-
Denoran?
Well, why don't we just put him back in the room? So for your safety and stuff like that, you should remain in your rooms. Make up a fake threat.
Aiden points out that it is some time to get to Cauldron Hill, and if we head to the Bleak Gate now, we can be there before they even realize that man has gone missing.
Alright.
Okay, sounds good.
We still
mean-
lack a good way of. We've got the lantern, but we don't really have a amulet thing, do we? We probably should have followed up on that robot guy.
You guys mentioned the lantern thing to Harkover.
Hello?
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 I think
Hello?
my connection's crapping out, sorry.
You guys mentioned the lantern, and Harkover, having been briefed after your journey to the on the train, says, perhaps, King and all of you gathered here, perhaps I would be capable of finishing off a ritual of transposition with this lantern in our possession.
Is that something I could learn as a Meiji type guy?
Yeah, potentially.
That'd be
You
pretty
could,
fucking sweet.
Emulate
Very
it once he's done it.
Yeah, alright. I'll definitely take notice of if that is what we end up doing.
I think that's basically our only option at the moment.
You could. Well, Azrabe seems to have some idea of how he's going to get there. Try and catch up with him.
Were we still on good terms with Azerbe?
Yes. You helped him fulfill his watching that guy commit suicide.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, wink wink, yeah. Oh, bye-bye.
Bye.
Right,
Whoa.
Dave left. Ah.
Bye,
Yeah, he said his connection was crappy, so
So, you guys go to try and catch this guy that's going down the lobby?
Yeah.
Yeah, why
I
not?
mean, I can always just strangle him. It wouldn't be the first time.
take off our official clothes, go undercover.
All right, so you guys head down, and it's not hard to catch this guy because the man is unfamiliar with Flint, and you get not 2 blocks away, and you see a man flipping a map, looking confused, trying to navigate his way. As you grab him and apprehend him, you see the map is directed to Stanfield Canal, which not quite sure why, but from there's a series of lines that head up to Cauldron Hill, and he's got in his jacket pocket a letter. And this letter, do you open it?
Can we use that old trick, with the teapot and some steam and open it that way so we can reseal it without it looking like we tore it open?
Does it matter? Because you're just going to be apprehending this guy anyway, and then going to the Cauldron
Yes,
Hill.
it matters, right? We're super secret spies.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You can do that. You stop nearby a steam vent down in the city and steam it open, and you see on it a bit of paper with 5 sigils inscribed on it, which you're not quite sure what they mean, but Arendis, you can roll an Arcana. And there's a brief written warning that says the RHC and the elf, the RHC and the Eladrin man, they're on their way.
I'm an Eladrin man, but he
Yes.
means
I
a
think they're
different.
talking about Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan, yeah. Oh, nice. Fucking plus 23. Suck a dick.
That's why I took Spook, because I can use my Arcana as my Intimidate. So I mean,
You recognize these sigils are not magic sigils themselves. Like how they're drawn is very much just a sketch. They wouldn't do any magic themselves. Hang on.
oh, is it like a code for a door or something?
Yes. It says drink your Ovaltine.
Wow.
Sorry. He has a the 5 sigils wouldn't actually do magic themselves, but they're more drawn as if he should look for and recognize these sigils. And you note them to be 5 minor variations on gate sigils, sort of permanent or semi-permanent planar gates.
It's a Stargate address.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, I'll let everyone know that is the case.
Let's go play Blue's Clues.
I miss Blue's Clues. The original Blue's Clues.
So you get this guy detained at the RHC building. He can be kept on a I don't know, the Patriots Act or some shit.
We'll transfer him to a black site. It's all good.
yeah, pretty much he disappears, ceases to exist. And you head back to the hotel, and the king and Lee are standing around and doing fuck all. No, they're standing around and saying, "You've stopped him," and glad to hear that you have. And they say, "Good. Well, it's time to plan our expedition to the Bleak Gate." And with that, we're at 12:33, and we'll probably stop there because the next part is the expedition to the Bleak Gate, and we've only got 25 minutes.
So my interwebs was cutting out, but I heard like every second word. Did Harkover Lee manage to reverse engineer a way to make us get to the Bleak Gate more safely or something?
Yes, he believes that with the lantern in your possession, he can do a ritual of transposition to permanently move you into the Bleak Gate, or, properly move you into the Bleak Gate.
Sweet.
These gates are so bleak, bro. So fucking bleak.
The bleakest of gates.
Yeah.
Just the absolute bleakest gates you've ever seen in your life.
Goodbye, recording. Goodbye.